This is a view from the British official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Wednesday, the 27th of August, 2025. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the Belfast Giants statistician, Mr. David McGimpsey, and the local hockey legend over that way, which is Simon Kitchen. Over the next hour or so, we'll bring you through all the news and views of your Belfast Giants from the last weekend and a whole lot more besides. We're live on demand on YouTube, X, Facebook, and you can also listen to us through all the really good podcast providers. If you're watching live on any of the platforms, get involved with comments in the chat box. We're always watching, and you may see your comment on screen. On this week's show, with the preseason behind us and the Champions Hockey League ahead, we'll consider both and are joined by a new player, a returning player, and our very own coach. We'll also hear from a few others through the show. Mr. McGimpsey, how are you?
Very well, Patrick. Nice to be back. Is it nice to be back? It feels
of
like
course it's nice to be back.
It's mad. It feels honestly like a fortnight since the end of the playoffs. I don't know what it's been like for Simon because it probably feels like a year. He's done that much work in the last 15 weeks, but man, it's came around quick.
You weren't with us last week, Simon, because there was just far too much going on.
It's been busy, especially when you've got a visiting club in, like with a training camp, and trying to help them out doing a few bits and pieces. Obviously, they don't know the city, but just literally, trying to help out in any way you can to make sure they have an enjoyable stay. And hopefully that's the way they're back to Norway with. Great people. I spent a bit of time with the general manager. Managed to get her out for a round of golf last Tuesday afternoon with him. And really, really nice fella. So, lovely people. The games which we're going to go and talk about, we'll have a chat on that. But yeah, it's been as Davey touched on there, it's been a busy 15 weeks. I think the main thing that sort of it sort of glued last season and this season together was the testimonial weekend and obviously the hospice hockey. It just felt like there was no break. It's been eventful for sure.
No doubt, man. No doubt. But the circus starts up again, and we'll be coming on to the games from last weekend and looking ahead, no doubt. But we'll start this week with a new segment of the show, and let's say one which will leave the star of the segment to introduce for us.
Hi, I'm Max Mason. This is We Giants Corner, and today I've got Reed Irwin.
Hey, Max.
Hey. Question number 1: how tall are you?
6'1.5".
Question number 2: if you had to play another sport than hockey, what would it be?
We talked about that in our room with Nick and Rhodes. I'd say F1 driver would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Question number 3: who was your favorite hockey player growing
up? Ryan Kessler, Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, when I was a forward.
Question number 4: what's your favorite hockey memory?
A couple for sure. 2 years ago, winning the ECAC championship with Gaudet would be probably my number 1.
Question number 5: why do you wear your number?
I was 17 because of Ryan Kessler, and then I went to lucky number 7 and kind of stuck with that whenever I can.
Question number 6: what's your favorite pre-game meal?
Favorite? I mean, the one that tastes the best would be like a lasagna or pasta, but I moved away from that because it was a little heavy. So favorite would be like chicken Alfredo.
Yeah. Question number 7: who do you think will survive the longest in a zombie apocalypse on the team?
On the team? Well, I'm new, so I'm going to go with a safe-ish answer here, kinda. I think Cons is competitive, so he would probably win most of his fights, but I'm trying to think of a smart, wily veteran. Probably Rochi would be up there. So those two.
Question number 8: what are your favorite sweets?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups for sure. Sour worms, probably those two. Reese's is number 1 though. Yeah.
Question number 9: is there anything you can't get here that you miss?
Anything I can't get here so far. Driving on the left's a little weird, but food-wise, maybe like pierogies. Yeah, I'd say pierogies. It's Canadian state or Ukrainian, but in Canada we have a lot of those. I haven't looked that hard, but pierogies maybe.
Question number 10: the coolest goal you've ever seen?
Coolest goal I've ever seen. I'd say the 2010 Olympics. I was on TV, but when Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal, that's probably my number one. Yeah.
Question number 11. What's your most satisfying hockey sound?
Probably when you level a guy and he hits the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, against the boards or open ice, I'd say.
Question number 12. If you could swap places with the goalie for a day, would you?
I did it 2 years ago. No, my groins. No, it's way harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Max Mason. That was We Giants Quarter.
What a legend. Big fan. Big thanks to Max. That's not the last time you're going to see him on here. Says he's done a few of these and we're looking forward to sharing them.
Do you know what? I was talking to him last week at the game, and we remember years ago, Jasmine was basically putting, God, she was 21 yesterday. That's another story.
I know.
Jasmine was
I
basically
just saying that.
for some of the boys. So I was talking to Max at the game on is it either Friday or Saturday night, and I said to him about it, and I said, look, we don't want anything to do with this. The only thing we're going to do is film it. You do all the questions. You ask the guys what you want to ask them. You do everything, and he did everything himself. Apart from, as I say, make the recording, which I did this afternoon for him. So his mum was holding the, we script and all that he did himself, and some of the questions his mum was doing that. But he was absolute. I mean, that was one take. There was no editing of it. That was one take.
Professional.
Yeah, he's definitely got a future for sure.
That's far too professional for a view from the bridge.
You know what I'm thinking, like?
the next step.
Start the podcast at 7:00 and hand them the keys, lads. I'm happy.
See you later.
Love to.
He genuinely wants to do comms. So we'll look down the line this season, and he definitely will be doing comms at some point. So we'll see what's happening.
That'll be good fun. And we've got a few more of those to share with you over the next couple of weeks. Big thanks to Max and big thanks to Rita and being part of that as well. Right, gents, let's have a look back at what took place this weekend with regards to the preseason games against, I say Stavanger. Is it Stavanger?
I was told it's Stavanger.
Right. Well, Stavanger it is then. The Stavanger Oilers, who came in on Friday and Saturday, take on the Belfast Giants. It was a 4-3 regulation win for the Oilers, a shootout win for the Giants on Friday, a 6-1 win for the Belfast Giants on Saturday with a shootout loss. We'll start with you on this. Says, and I'll throw in some of the highlights. Did the Giants get, especially when let's look at Friday first of all, did the Giants get from this what they wanted?
Do you know what? Preseason games are, no matter what the sport, it's literally about getting the legs going. The Norwegian League arguably is a little higher level than what the EIHL. We've obviously we spoke to JJ, and he played in that league for 2 years, and he told us that there's some really, really good players in it. And the if you look in the rankings of the world rankings, Norwegian team is of a decent standard and seem to be getting better and better and come up with some fantastic results over the years. So I think it's a really good test for us over the weekend itself. And Friday night, I don't think we played bad, but I think we just made a couple of mistakes that you don't want to make. And that when you're playing against a team like that, you get punished. So I thought that we probably could have played a little bit better. And I think, Jackson's probably going to want a couple of goals back. But it's pre-season, it's his first game in 4 months or 4.5 months, whatever it may be. It's always going to be difficult, but getting your legs going. We obviously lost Roche, getting into the second period, so you're missing that experience. You're sort of missing the character that he brings as well. And let's be honest, I mean, Roche was arguably one of our best defensemen last season, if not the best defenseman. So it was difficult night. Obviously, you want to come out on the right side, and you want to get your preseason off to a good start. But Friday night was a difficult night. And as I say, the Stavanger are a really, really good outfit and scored a couple of decent goals.
Davey, it needs to be a difficult night. You don't want to be going to these preseason games and wanting just to have somebody making up the numbers. You want to be able to gel these lines. And I think what we've seen from a lot of these Belfast Giants players, and obviously Marcus Ericsson comes out of it with great plaudits in the way that he plays, and we'll hear from Kieran Long later in the show, and he points out the fact that the way he played over the weekend just shows what he can do, including like a goal that came from more or less on the red line. What we're seeing from these players early on is positive.
Lots of positives to take. I think Simon's absolutely right with his starting piece. The most important bit about the exhibition games is getting 120 minutes, maybe the extra overtime and penalty shots under your belt. Just getting rid of that little bit of camp rust, if you want to call it that. Just, they've just been playing against each other for the last number of weeks. While skating's fun over the summer, nothing scratches the itch of hockey like playing a proper game. So I think even more into the second game of the weekend, we played a lot better. The first night, for playing a European team, for playing a Norwegian team, a lot more hitting than I thought there might be in it. We made the ice small at times for Stavanger and made it difficult for them. They played the body as well, but I thought over the course of the two nights, certainly Friday was a rustier one, and Saturday was a lot more positive hockey played on it.
Yeah. When it comes to as well, like obviously we wanted to get special teams out of this. Is we want on Friday we go to overtime. There's nothing, and then we go to the shootout and the shootout win for the Belfast Giants. Getting all these sort of things, and then throw in the element of the changes with regards to the Champions Hockey League, the offensive zone in overtime, and not being able to leave the offensive zone in overtime. That these are all things the Giants need to get used to before our Finnish friends come in over this week.
Yeah, again, it's again adapting. Obviously with the conditions in the arena over the weekend, there was a lot of mist that was forming over the ice as well. So that sort of slowed the tempo down. We decided that, Adam decided that he wanted to basically have those period breaks. So the power breaks, there was 2 power breaks during the game on both nights actually. So you're getting You've only got the 3 and a bit lines going. You want to try and build a bit of momentum. Sometimes the power breaks can help. Sometimes to sort of slow the thing down. But obviously with the other part of we had to get the players out onto the ice a few times to try and lift the mist, and I felt that sort of slowed the momentum down for us a little bit. But you touched on individuals there. Eriksson is a really, really good player. Obviously a ton of experience. Playing in Sweden. You've got he was playing on the line with JJ Pikanich and Jake Gaudet, and then you had Cons, Gaudet, and Patrick Grasso, who, to be honest, I thought Patrick Grasso was excellent on Friday night. I thought he played really, really well. I think he showed what you can expect from him. A player from the Friendship 4, and I think he's going to be a real star in this league as well. So it's the most important thing is trying to get through unscathed. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Adam will probably update guys later on what's happening with that. There's a couple of knocks that were picked up, and it's disappointing that way. You're going to play against a really, really good outfit this Thursday and another fantastic outfit on Saturday. So it's not going to be easy. But you just need to get ready to go and tie the skates up and get stuck in, because nobody's going to make it easy for you, no matter who you play in the CHL. They're all tough games.
Let's flip to Saturday, Davy, and you look at the way the Giants. It was a 4-3 loss in regulation in regards to Friday. The Giants flipped it around and take a comprehensive 6-1 win. What was the difference? You're on mute, David.
I've moved in this flatmate in the washing machine. It sounds like a nuclear bomb's going off. It's wild. So I've had it on mute there because everything was, the screen all shaking. It's wild. I think we started a little bit better. We got more ozone pressure, some good ozone shifts in that first period especially. We got a lot of shots on early doors. Obviously, going in a couple of goals up always helps. And then we just turned it on. We just grind it out, and we got good goals at good times. We got lots of contributions, especially from the blue line, which is, it's the formula for our game at the end of the day. But I just thought the start that we got just set us up for a really good performance.
You see the mist there as well. Says that it's slow, as you said yourself. It slowed the game down quite a bit to begin with before the guys could get things together.
Yeah, it definitely made an impact on it. I thought that we moved to Saturday night. I thought we played a lot better. You've got, people are getting. I mean, don't forget, there's 9 new guys in, so you've got to know each other's game, and the success we had last year of JJ Goody and Cons. Adam made the decision to split those guys up, and And I think it paid dividends. Eriksson and JJ have really, started the preseason games anyway very, very well. I think both of them scored on both nights. So it's difficult to try and just get through the night and just try and play the best you can, get your legs moving. And, you talk about special teams. That was a really good power play goal there from us. And you have to, especially when you move into the CHL, when you get a full 2-minute power play, you need to make it count. That's the one we can't afford to take penalties against the CHL. We'll have to stay disciplined, but we also need to make sure that if we get the opportunity that we bury the puck. Speaking to Mace yesterday, I think it was, and he was saying that he was watching a bit of video from last week of Galpa on the power play. They got 5 power play goals last week, and in one game, and you're sitting going, oh, right, okay, and that you need to be alert. That you need the discipline against these Finnish teams, especially, is going to be vitally important, and we need to make sure we stay out of the box and don't take any stupid penalties, and especially no selfish penalties. But stand up and be counted. But overall, the weekend, I was happy with the way the boys played. I thought they did very well, especially on Saturday. I just thought there was a lot of cohesion. I thought we skated better. I thought that there was a number of really good goals. Basti got a couple from the back end, and when you're getting a bit of defensive help from the score sheet, that makes the game an awful lot easier.
You're just saying that. It's just like some of the notes I've put down here from the weekend, and the sort of a team assessment. We spoke there. Eriksson's integration was strong with goals and assists. Basti providing blue line offense, 2 goals. The goaltender rotation with regards to Wyss and Gravel looked strong. And showing depth there, which is what we want. And then special teams, you want them to be sharp. Davey, some great goals over the weekend as well.
Yeah, and one that I wanted to highlight, I don't know how we remove this one. Did I remove this? What happens? Do we all come back? Was you just talked about it. Basti's goal from, I think it was his first one, maybe the 3rd goal of the game, if I add this in. And ironically, Simon was talking about JJ, Conway, and Picks being split up. Just as it happens on the ice, the 3 guys are together, Mike, Lee, and Basti, and we're talking about the excitement that we've got about all these new guys coming in. Going to get a look at them, but it's 5 guys from last year that did the damage on this one. Mike Lee goes up the wall with it. Really good play from Basti. You see him there just pausing in behind the net, looking for if it's dropped back round. Spike gets 2-on-1 on the wall and it gets turned over, and already the read and react here from Basti just to come in. And 2-0 up in a preseason game, which maybe doesn't mean that much. Sacrificing the body here. He goes straight in. Big block right in front of Gravel. And we'll muck in, we'll turn it over. JJ wins the battle up in the blue line here. And as you know, JJ Pekinich, Scott Conway, David Goodwin, when they're going that way, there's going to be damage. Goodwin pops into the corner here. And when you see the Stavanger guys, already identified, there's Basti. Look at the hole I've got to go into. Goodwin's going to find Collins, and it's off Collins' stick within a second. And Basti stepped into the hash marks and bang, it's past the goalie before he even looks. So it's good that those 5 guys, a bit of chemistry from last season and seasons previously, hit the ground running, but lovely read and react from Basti on the back end, big block, and then going straight up the ice 200 feet and scoring. So good things.
Good things. A good weekend overall. I think we got exactly what we want. We'll hear from the coach later on, and we'll hear from Jake Gaudet as well, and see how the guys felt that the weekend went going into the CHL. Before we do that, let's hear from Kieran Long.
Kieran Long, getting ready, as we can see, for the Champions Hockey League game, which happens tomorrow night. But weekend against Stavanger. What was your thoughts on the weekend as a whole?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Obviously, the first game, the result didn't go our way. A few little things to tweak, but I think we showed on the second game that if we do what we've been trying to do and execute well, we can get results that way.
2 weeks of training camp, obviously ended with the 2 pre-season games. New teammates, some old faces, as I said before, with you. What's your thoughts on the new guys? Anybody stood out for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the one that stands out is Marcus. He's bringing a ton of skill and experience with him. But I mean, all of the boys are chipping in. They've got their own little skills, talents, and stuff. But just even as people, everyone seems to be great people, and yeah, it's good fun so far.
What's the mood in the room like leading into tomorrow night? Again, something you've already experienced. Champions Soccer League action in Belfast. Some new guys coming in. I know the games at the weekend when you're playing pre-season. It's obviously it's competitive, but it's not. They're probably not experiencing the fan base the way that we know that they can be with coming in and meaningful games.
Yeah, I think you can definitely see the excitement in the room just from being around the boys. I think it's going to be a great night tomorrow night, and then leading on to Saturday as well. I think that whole weekend is going to be great, and I think everyone's excited for it to start. Tough
ask with regards to Calpa and then Tampere coming in. It doesn't get any easier in it, but it's when you look at it, it's the competition, and I've said this on many occasions. Everybody ties their skates the same way, but it's going to be a tough task against two really, really top teams.
Yeah, of course it's going to be tough. It's always going to be tough when you're playing in the CHL. The top teams, no matter what, if they won or came second or whatever. But it's an exciting time for us to put ourselves at a good test against the top players around Europe.
Mr. Long, thank you very much indeed. And I look forward to watching you play tomorrow night.
Look forward to playing.
Big thanks to Longer for joining us. Good to see him. I think another guy who's ready for the season ahead. Let's welcome our first guest of the evening. One of the new names on the Belfast Giants roster, and we mentioned him earlier on, playing on that line with JJ and with Marcus Ericsson. Delighted to welcome to View from the Bridge, Jake Gaudet. How you doing, mate?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming along. What did you think of the weekend? How did you take it with regards to this preseason? Do you feel that you guys, as I said earlier, do you feel you guys got what you wanted from it?
Yeah, I think so. And you guys kind of already touched on it, but it's hard to replicate playing another team. You can only practice and play against each other so much. So I think for us, it was nice to kind of get the jitters out Friday and then take another step Saturday.
Obviously you're coming in fresh with regards to this locker room. What's it been like so far, going through training camp and then finally getting onto the ice at the SSE Arena?
It's been fun. I haven't played. I think our group's a little bit older than what I'm used to. A lot of guys kind of my age, same maturity level. So that's something I appreciated in the room. A lot of guys, a lot of things in common, and a pretty fun group. So we've had a blast so far, and we're excited for it to kind of be real tomorrow night.
Hi, Jake. There's been a lot of obviously work going on the ice and off the ice in the gym or whatever, but you've been able to settle into Belfast well, get away from the rink a little bit.
Yeah. Kitchie and I have been talking. We've played probably, I think, 4 or 5 golf courses out here. We've been trying to get out of the house and explore. So we've been busy.
Just for the record, I haven't played 4 or 5. I've only played 1. I've only been out once.
This is telling us he's been busy for weeks. He's been telling us
I'm just telling him the courses that he can play. I haven't played them all with him. Thanks, Jake.
And how's the golf looking?
It's nice to be out there. I don't stress too much. I'm not great, but I enjoy being out there, and we have a fun group. So it's nice to just kind of get out of the apartment. But other than that, we've spent some time downtown as a team and kind of exploring the city and had some fun so far. So enjoying it.
And really just 24 hours away now from the, hitting the ice in anger.
Yeah.
Must be excited about that.
Yeah, we are. I think it'll be, it's a big step for our group. Obviously, we got a little bit of adversity early with a couple injuries and things like that going on. But no, we're excited. It'll be very real starting tomorrow, and excited to play in front of all the fans as well.
Simon.
Jake, you were talking a few weeks ago, and we thought you basically, obviously UMass, you ended up being captain of UMass 2021 season, but your colleagues and your teammates at UMass would have told you about Belfast, and what sort of stories were they telling you about? Obviously, they were here for a week back in 16, 17.
Yeah. And then I think the year after I left too, in 22, some of the guys were there as well. So I split the gap. I missed it on the front end and the back end. I was unlucky, but No, everyone I heard kind of in the recruiting process coming here, everyone I talked to, even outside of the UMass community, had nothing but positive things to say. And friends of friends that have played here loved their experience in the city. So it really felt like a pretty easy decision to come here.
Coming to Belfast, obviously, it's your first foray overseas. You played all your career in North America, mostly in the AHL professionally. But coming to Belfast, how did the move come about? The hockey, we talked about this as well. The hockey world's so small. There's so many people that have played in Europe, and a lot of people have played in the AHL again from North America. But how did the move come about for you?
Yeah, I think, I was contacted by Steve, and I even reached out at one point for more information. I'm doing my master's this year with Ulster in Belfast. So that was something that, when you look at some point, I'll move on to doing something else. I think having a master's degree and getting to play pro and kind of experience a city like Belfast in Europe, kind of a combination of that was what made it a really, exciting offer, and something that ultimately kind of sealed the deal for me to end up here.
How big a decision, because obviously, as Simon said, between you spent a lot of your time in Cleveland with regards to the AHL, you spent a lot of time, you had a bit of time down the coast, but predominantly in the AHL. Mm-hmm. How difficult was it to make that decision to cross the Atlantic and decide, what, I'm going to give Europe a buzz here. I'm going to go and we'll try something a bit different. You've mentioned the schooling, which is always a big bonus with regards to when you want to make that choice, you're getting something on top of that, but it can't be an easy decision to say, I'm going to travel a few thousand miles away and I'm going to play hockey there instead.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And, obviously leaving, I've spent my whole life in North America. So it was a bit daunting, but I think at the end of the day, I just wanted something new. I wanted a new kind of experience. I'd spent, like you said, a lot of my time in Cleveland, and I think being a bottom six player in that league can be a little bit tough, where you're not really sure, night in, night out, you make a mistake, you might be out of the lineup, that kind of thing. So I was excited to just come to Europe and experience a new city. And I'd heard, like I said, great things about Belfast and the league as a whole, and to be able to come and get my MBA and kind of, be entering into a winning culture that Belfast has. They have an expectation of winning. They have a great coach, good management, and that they're professionally run. And, that's been evident so far through the first month. So excited to be here.
You said something there that people who've listened or watched The View from the Bridge for a long time will know something that fascinates me. It is that position within the AHL. It's like you said, you want to be part of your team. You want to be part of and play for the team that you're on. But you're probably either looking over your shoulder at somebody coming in from the coast, or your eyes are looking ahead. You want to get a call up to the NHL. It seems to be a sort of a funny environment where you're both wanting to be there for the team, but also wanting to either progress or just keep yourself there.
Yeah, it is weird. I think it's, the way the league's designed, it's a developmental league for the NHL. So it can be a bit counterintuitive at times, where it feels like, the decisions that would benefit the team most in terms of lineup decisions, things like that, maybe aren't necessarily always designed for winning. They're designed for developing prospects. So I think at times it can be a frustrating thing when you're a player that's kind of on that very fine edge of being in the lineup and not. And, I did it for 4 years. I loved my time in Cleveland. I have nothing but good things to say, but at the end of the day, I was ready to do something new and kind of experience a different culture.
What's the atmosphere like in the room going into tomorrow?
It's good. We've had a good week of practice coming off a few of the games. We've definitely ramped it up, I think, into today, and we'll be ready to go tomorrow night.
Is there obviously Marcus Eriksson has a bit of experience coming in from the Swedish league and things like that, and also David Goodwin having played in Finland. But is there a lot of sort of coverage? Is there a lot of information? You guys know what you're going to expect tomorrow?
I think a little bit. We know we're obviously a really good team. They won their league in Finland last year. But I think, the most of the focus this week's kind of been more on playing to our standard and kind of what we expect of ourselves as a team. And, we're going to play a bunch of different teams here in the next couple of weeks from different leagues. And I think it's important to us that we play the way that we want to. And we'll see how the cards fall against some of these really good teams.
Nice one, Jake. Listen, we'll let you get to bed. We've got a big game tomorrow. We appreciate you coming on and joining us. And
thanks, guys.
Good luck tomorrow. Good luck this weekend. And hopefully we'll chat to you further down the season.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Big thank you to Jake Gaudet for coming and joining us on the show. Obviously, big game tomorrow. So, boys want to get ready for that. Just a bit of a chat here, boys, just about the Belfast Giants as they've set up. We talked about the roster and the way they put together. We've got a more or less a brand new roster here. We've seen on the ice what they can do in these preseason games. Since how balanced do you think we are?
It's hard to tell. It really is. I mean, you look at the core of the team that we had last year, and you look at I want to say the spine, if you know what I mean, but you're looking at the guys that were brought back: Goodwin, Conway, Pickenich, Lee, Bast, Jackson Whistle. And that's just a small group of them. Obviously, you got Ben Lake and Kieran Long added into it. I think it was a really good recruitment side of things from Adam and Steve. And then you're adding to that Brandon Whistle and Sam Jones from a GB side of things to make it a stronger GB group, in my opinion, this year. And then you bring in experience like Marcus Eriksson, who's played at the highest level in Sweden. You bring in Jake Gaudet, coming straight out of the AHL. And guys who have played around Europe, and we talk about Patrick Grasso and Garrett McFadden and others. So I think it's a really good lineup that we have. But we look at, people say, on paper, hockey's not played on paper. So, we need to make sure that we talk about the CHL as, it's a competition that we want to be involved in. Are we going to win it? You'd like to think, yes, that would be fantastic. But the likelihood is it's going to be very, very difficult for us to do that, especially coming up against the Finnish champions, the Finnish team that finished second last year, the three of the top teams in Switzerland, and then throwing in the Swedish champions. It could not be much harder for us to basically go in there. But I don't think we're going to let ourselves down. I think we're going to go into with playing the way Adam likes the guys to play, and hopefully we'll come out on the other end of it. But look, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. I think it's an opportunity to really put our foot down. I mean, we need the Giants crowd to come out in numbers and basically make the noise. And I know there's a few fans traveling from Finland as well, so we're going to hopefully drown them out and get a good performance on the ball.
What do you expect, Davy, from this side? Domestically, we want to go back into chasing the league, getting the other two cups, retaining the Challenge Cup, and regaining the playoff trophy. But we've always talked about the CHL from a perspective of it being a preseason. We've often joked about it being a preseason tournament, but it is something that we need to gain from. We need to gain. Show what we can do, gain that gelling, and show that we are a good outfit.
It's another 2 weeks of intense preparation for domestic action, for one thing. Adam Keefe will wring every ounce of effort out of the boys to, get our processes going. Can we win the Champions Hockey League? Of course we can. It's we can dream about anything, but essentially, this is about probably coming out of it whole is probably important, because we're already, as Simon has said, took a couple of knocks from the weekend. So coming out of it without any further injuries, a little bit of intensity into our game and being prepared for the domestic season starting will be crucial.
One of the things that happened in the last 24 hours or so is that it's been announced that we've got a guy coming back into the side, having due to a bit of covering for injuries coming into these games in the CHL. So we decided to call him up and say hello. Mr. Davy Phillips, welcome back, mate.
Yeah.
Hold on. I was hoping somebody would do this. Turn your phone 90 degrees, mate. Turn your phone 90 degrees.
Tell him what that means.
Me?
Yeah.
No, we'll all turn ours.
There we go. That's better.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big. Can't remember who. My apologies. Can't remember who it was. Give us this T-shirt, but a big thanks to the person who did. Davy, welcome back.
Thank you.
So you're back in for a bit of time. Obviously, you're in Hull. You're doing your thing in Hull. How's this come about? You're coming back in to play these games. There's a bit of a phone call and say, let's go for it.
Keefe texted me late last night, said they've got a couple of injuries and would I be interested in coming? And I said, yeah, straight away. Well, he wanted to know how much I'd been skating first, but
Did you tell the truth?
I've been on a little bit, but I haven't played any real games. I played in a charity game at the weekend, so I'm a little anxious how the old legs are going to feel. Let's put it that way.
It's a good opportunity to come in and play a bit of Champions Hockey League.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic games, aren't they? But I just wanted to come and help. If I've got injuries, just any way I can, whether I play 2 minutes or 20 minutes. Just my job's just to pretty much the same as it's been all my career. Just give the good players a rest. Don't get scored on. Move the puck to the forwards. That's what it is. That's all I go out there for, innit? Just let the
Simple as
good
that.
players have a rest and don't get scored on while you're out there.
Davey, I don't really have a question for you. I'm just really happy to see you.
Are you at the game tomorrow?
No, but I'm going next week.
Oh,
So
I'll
no
have to
hugs.
stay for then as well.
No
just
hugs
to
for
see
tomorrow,
you.
but you'll have to hang up out for another week. Listen, obviously you got to come back and we thought you had been killed actually in June, but you enjoyed yourself over the weekend.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Tell you what, I was worried.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the weekend?
I think I've still got whiplash in my neck from that.
The bubble hockey, Davey took an absolute smashing. Who was it hit you?
I can't even remember. You can't see in them things, can you?
It's true. No, and nobody's owned up to it.
I think it was Mo Train.
Yeah, I think it was Mo.
I'm sure it was. I just
I
ran
remember.
for the littlest.
Did you enjoy
All I
that
knew is I wasn't going anywhere near Darryl Lloyd.
Did you enjoy that weekend?
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? It was brilliant. Both games.
And what are you hoping to get out of this next little spell in Belfast?
Nothing really. It's just good to be back and just good to help. Yeah, at my age, I don't think I'm going to be getting any contracts anywhere. So.
Hey, don't rule it out, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy to help, and it's great to come back and see familiar faces and stuff like that, even though it's short term. But yeah, like I say, I'm just happy to chip in and try and contribute where I can.
Davey, we were talking about this earlier when I picked you up at the airport, and it's one of those ones where from the first time you stepped in Belfast, you just loved the place. You were telling me earlier on that when you first came here, you'd obviously never been here before. You ended up sitting in the apartment for 3 days until Steve rang you and said, "Are you not coming out?"
Yeah. No, I've always loved it here. It's easy to people to say it feels like home or whatever, but it really, really does. And don't get me wrong, there is no place like home. That's why I have gone back there. But every time I do come back, I'd have no problems in making Belfast my home and living here forever.
Davey, you talked about again the opportunities like this don't come along too often. I mean, you played at the high, you right the whole way to the AHL, and when you look at the games that you've played in the UK, nearly, I think it's over 850 EIHL games in all competitions. It's when games like this come along, you touched on it. Whether you play 2 minutes or whether you play 10 minutes, you've got to enjoy them. And you're going to be out there with a lot of people that you've never met before, and you're going to be out there with a lot of people who are going to have your back both on the ice and off the ice. But you must be looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. But yeah, still a little anxious too, but I am looking forward to it. The family's going to fly over as well tomorrow, so to get to watch it as well is going to be a good experience, some good memories. But yeah, like I said, at my age, just turned 38, to get the opportunity to play in a CHL game, it's one you can't say no to. So just grateful I got the call.
How did I assume when you got the call, your next call was to Matty Davies to say you're doing pre-season in Belfast?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I'm sure he was happy enough.
Yeah, he was all right about it. I'm sure he went over the moon, but you can't really say no, can you? Because it's not like you're going to go play in very, very competitive games. So, yeah, I'm not training and practicing with them, which is not ideal from their point of view. But on the plus side, it's very, very good match fitness and sharpness that I should be coming away from it with.
How's it been playing back home?
Yeah, it was a different. It's nice being home. The hockey was a bit different. Took a bit to get used to and stuff, but no, I'm enjoying it.
Because you're playing with a lot of guys. A lot of guys we know. A lot of memorable names. You look at Bobby Chamberlain. You look at so obviously you had who was there last year?
Hodgkinson,
Jason Hewitt.
Hewitt.
And a lot of the guys, a lot of guys who would be familiar to us who have spent their time playing elite league and the like. So, it must be a decent locker room to be in.
Yeah, I just like speaking to Josh and hearing the Belfast accent. Keeping that.
And Josh Hodgkinson, of course.
Yeah, he's a good lad, Josh.
So, what are you expecting from the next couple of games, then, mate? What do you think the boys are going to be up against, especially tomorrow?
I think I'll get an hat trick.
Good man. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for.
If it's not within the first period, I'll be disappointed. No, but as a team, you played the Norwegian team, didn't you, last weekend? And I'm sure this team will be better than them, I'd guess. But similar style as in them European teams, it is a bit faster, and it's almost a bit of a different game in a way. It's hard to explain. I don't know. Does it see like that watching, do you think?
But faster. Obviously,
yeah,
teams are coming in faster. But
yeah, it's always been like that, and a bit quicker pace and not quite as physical. Yeah. And that's European hockey is like that. And if there's guys so it's good they've had that taste of it last week, and them games are perfect for pre-season games going into it, especially for the ones who've not played in Europe before. Guys who've played in Europe before, they'll kind of know what to expect.
And of course, it being refereed by local referees might make something a little bit more a style.
Oh, boo! I'm on
you want the Euro refs in?
Yeah.
Well,
they're all the same.
Before we let you go, let's touch on the reasons why you're back in, and welcome back to A View from the Bridge, the head coach of the Belfast Giants, Adam Keefe. How are you doing, mate?
Good. I was just listening backstage there about Davy and his hat trick, so I was
happy. Yeah. Exactly why he's here.
Exactly.
He sent me the team through for tomorrow, ain't you? I'm going to shut the 5th line down.
He did have a nice goal, I believe, in the testimonial. I remember clipping it.
Just as evidence.
I can't even remember.
But give us a reason.
After you were steamrolled.
Yeah.
That's why his bird's still flying around his head. Kiefer, tell us this. Obviously, we take a bit of injury. Was it not a difficult decision to see if Davy Phillips is available? You know what you're getting with this man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not ideal what's happened here in the last handful of weeks, but more in particular, last few days. And we're just trying to cover our bases. I mean, obviously, we know Davy can do a job. He's got loads of experience with Champions League, with our system, the way we want to play. We know he's passionate about Belfast, so we know that he's going to lay it on the line for us if we need him. And, those things were important to us. It's also nice to bring Davy and have him around. He's great for the locker room. He's great for the fan base, for the staff. And he's he's one of us, so we felt that it was important that it was one of us that comes in to help. And similar to the situation when we brought Jonathan Boxall back, he came in and he helped out. Davy is available. He's playing. And again, like I said, he bleeds steel. So it was a no-brainer for us. And, obviously you're going into a game short-bodied. However, we do have plenty of guys that are able to play here, but we wanted to be sure that, should we take another injury or suspension or or anything happen in the game, that we're well covered here, and we can get the job done.
I'll translate that for you. Basically, I was the last resort, and no one else could make it apart from me, so I got the call.
He went through his phone alphabetically.
I'll try and ask the question a different way then, Adam. I guess with David being available, hasn't been at training camp with us, but you needed someone to come in, someone that knows your own system, someone knows the processes, what it's like to be in Belfast, and can just play it simple if needs be. If he needs to go out on the ice there, you know what he's going to do for you. He's just going to keep it simple. He's going to chip it out. He's going to get our, you know, as he said earlier in the piece, I don't know if you're on, it's his job just to get it to the forwards and then just sit back, you know?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Davey, his last stint here, he was in the Champions League, and I remember him doing very well through that time. You know, that was a time when we ran through some similar injury issues, and I believe we were really short on D as well through that Champions League as well. So obviously Davey's the guy that lived through that. You know, and I think that it'll just be good all around. It's nice to get Davey back. Like I said, we like bringing one of our own back whenever we can. And this is a situation that he's coming in to help us. Like, you know, Davey didn't need to come here and do this. I spoke to Davey, what time last night, Dave? 7 o'clock? And
Yeah,
here he
it
was
was
today.
late.
So obviously we're thankful for that. That being said, I'm completely focused on tomorrow's game, and things just pick up right where they left off. And I think that's another one of the reasons why we look to a guy like Dave, that he can come in and we know he's going to fit right in and just do whatever's asked of him. So I mean, that's huge. I mean, we're not having to teach anybody anything. Davey knows what this is about.
Davey, listen, big game tomorrow. We appreciate your time. Good luck in the games, and hopefully this isn't the last time we see you.
Yeah, hopefully not. Thanks for having me.
Get
Nice
some
to see you all.
Nice one, Davey. Big thanks to Davey Phillips for coming and joining us back on A View from the Bridge. Coach, thanks for coming on again. Let's look quickly back at last weekend and the games against the Oilers. Did you get what you wanted from them?
I think so. I think we got better. Obviously, like I said before in a few interviews, I didn't love the first 40 minutes of game one. Maybe just kind of finding our feet or feeling out what type of game it was going to be. But I thought it was a great response from the guys, 2-1 down going into a third period at home. I thought we came out and looked exactly how we want to look. We carried the run of play. You could tell that we did deserve to strike even, and then obviously we went ahead right away. It's unfortunate what happened after that, but you could feel the momentum shifting and everything happening on the bench, and kind of shift after shift, guys were rolling, and that was what we wanted to see. We asked the guys to play with that type of mindset from puck drop, and I thought they did that. You know, we started Laker, Nick, and Smitty, and I think that each one of them had a hit within the first 15 seconds, and you know, kind of let the other team know we're there. And I thought we didn't look back from that stage. It was a good start. Obviously, there was some fog, but our guys looked good through the fog. I'll tell you that. I thought that you know, we certainly were just continuing to roll. So it was great.
Add that in for tomorrow. But what was the difference, did you feel, between what we saw on Friday and then the more or less steamrolling that we saw on Saturday?
Maybe some confidence, maybe just getting the rust out, you know, the first 40 minutes. Obviously, it's a new opponent. You know, you're not used to taking contact. You're not used to which way that game's going to go. Like I said, I would have liked for us to take control of the game right away. I thought we did that in game two, you know, so the challenge for us now is to take that right into tomorrow and you know, go into this tournament, because we belong in this tournament, and we know we do, and we feel you know, that we can have success here. So you know, tomorrow, starting off the tournament at home, we want to get off to a great start.
Adam, I know it feels, I know there's been a lot of hard work going on since the end of last season, but it feels like I closed my eyes last night after the testimonial, and we're waking up tomorrow for the Champions League. But you must be looking forward to hitting the ice in anger here now.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the summer went by pretty quick, but we packed a lot into it. It was a great summer for myself personally, obviously. But there was a lot packed into it, and it did fly by. I think the closer you get to the season starting, you start to miss your summer a little bit. But then once you get here, it's all things. We're all pushing forward here now. It's real. Tomorrow marks the first real competitive match. As much as I can bill the friendlies as not being friendlies, when they're not taking stats, guys that maybe play a little less hard. So I expect tomorrow for us to up our game and rise to the occasion that is the Champions League. And I think the guys will be pretty excited come tomorrow's puck drop.
I'm literally about to concentrate on what you just said there. It's literally getting up for the game tomorrow night, Adam. It's you're playing against the Finnish champions and a team that you don't face every single week, but they're the next couple of games, even over the next 6 weeks, the games against the CHL. You want to compete, you want to get in there, you want to get out and give it your best, and you've got an opportunity to do that against a really good outfit tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it'll be, as Davey said, I think it'll be another pace up from Stavanger. Nothing against Stavanger. Obviously, they were short benched as well. This is things that happen at the start of the year. I imagine that Kalpa will be missing a couple of players tomorrow. I think that when you start the season off, you kind of expect these things early on. I'm not a fan of adversity early on, but I don't mind it if we handle it well. And I think that's a good challenge for our group right now. A bit of early adversity with the injuries. Good time for us. A lot of ice time, a lot of opportunity for guys to come together and overcome this thing and get some big wins in the process. There's no excuses going into tomorrow. We have very capable lineup, and like I said, with a little bit of adversity comes opportunity for guys to step up and show their character.
Did anything from last weekend surprise you? Sorry, sis.
Surprised me.
Yeah, just like something that was a bit different. Like I assume you've scouted these guys to Kingdom Come. You know what the new guys are coming in. But did anybody bring anything that you thought, actually, I wasn't expecting that?
You mean from our team?
Yes.
No, not really. Obviously Marcus had a strong showing on the weekend. We knew he's going to be very good with the puck offensively. He's creative. I think he showed that. I think he impressed some of the fans. Obviously, our returning group looked the same, looked good, looked the part. I thought Patrick Grasso had a strong weekend just in terms of the way he moves out there. And like I said, I thought everybody had a pretty good weekend and got better as the games went on. And I expect us to be even better tomorrow. So, that's just kind of what we're looking for. We are looking for guys to stand out a little bit. Obviously, that's just what we go through every year. We want guys to want to be the guy. That goes for our returning players and the new players. And as coaches, we're evaluating that every day. And obviously, we're very happy with the group right now. But still very early on. We've got a long way to go here.
I mentioned earlier on that we know who the referees are this weekend, things like that. But one of the things Simon said earlier on in the show is how key discipline is in these games. How key discipline is, because we know that the different rules with regards to the CHL. How much are you drumming this into the guys that we need to stay out of the box?
Yeah, I mean, I will be. I think it's pretty clear once you throw those rules in. But yeah, I mean, that'll be one of the focuses tomorrow. It's a focus of ours every night. So I mean, there's no real change. We don't want to be taking penalties. It's just simple. So it's part of our process that we have to limit those. And I thought obviously Jeff Mason's done a great job with our kill so far. It's 6 for 6 on the weekend, and the guys have done a good job. And we still don't want to be testing it. These are very good power plays, and we want to be as disciplined as possible. And there's going to be some penalties that happen as a result of the hockey game. And on the flip side of that, the rules are the same for us as is for them. We get a power play, we're going to want to score more than one goal. I mean, so it can change the game. We learned that the last time we were in Champions League. I think did a kind of a workshop with the Champions League, and they explained that the rule actually benefited the lower end teams. The challenger teams actually benefited from that rule. So I think a lot of people thought it was probably going to be the other way around. So let's hope that's the same case this weekend.
So then that's interesting, but which leads me into sort of the question of there are a number of different rules in the CHL. We just spoke about that one, and then the one that we tested at the weekend on overtime of not being able to leave the offensive. So what do you think of these rules being tweaked in the CHL? Do you think they work, or do you think they're just not needed?
They set the rules. We play by them. That's the name of the game. I'm like I said, I follow the rules. I mean, I have no problem with either rule. I think it's exciting for fans. I'd say, if anything, the power play rule is one that could just change the game instantly on with one penalty. The overtime one, I'd say obviously it's taking a little bit of the coaching out of the game and the decisions from the players, but I think it's a good thing for the fans. I think it's going to be a little more exciting if you can't decide that there's nothing going on, so you take the puck back in your zone and you get a change. It'll eliminate that, should make it faster. However, on the flip side of that, if there's whistle after whistle like we saw on Saturday night, that'll go the other way quickly. So I think my personal suggestion that would be the referee's discretion, but the rules are the rules and we play by them. Hopefully we get it done in regulation.
Let's hope so, Coach. Listen, we really do appreciate you coming on again and discussing this. Good luck tomorrow and at the weekend in these CHL games. Hopefully we'll get a good crowd in and we'll be able to get what we want and get these wins over these two very difficult sides.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
Big thanks, as always, to the head coach, Adam Keefe, for coming and join us. Actually, I'm just going to continue this and speak to you boys about that. What are your take on the different, also were you, Davy, these rule switches and the different sort of elements of it in regards to the overtime rule and bringing it into the zone and not allowed to bring it out, and also the power play rule?
I guess on the overtime one, there was a situation where we've mishandled the puck or whatever, it's popped out and it's an instant whistle and it's gone 200 feet or 150 feet. They've won a face-off as clean as ever. Anything that the point man's missed it and it's gone out, and another whistle and it's gone back down the other end. So there has to be, as Adam said, there a little bit of discretion perhaps with the referees. That it's very hard to say what's deliberate and what's not deliberate. But if a player carries it in and obviously carries it back out of the zone, I think that's a fair enough whistle under the rules. But these ones where there's a mishandle or there's a clean face-off win or there's a puck rimmed around the boards that's not quite gathered correctly, I think there has to be a little bit of discretion, or it is just going to be, it takes away from the sort of 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime that's fast. You get these line changes, you get a control breakout behind your own net or whatever. It takes away from that. You've just got to go in, you've got to try and hold it in the zone, and it's probably going to give up more 2-on-0s or 2-on-1 breakaways perhaps, and it's probably designed to try and create more goals, but I don't know whether it will. The penalty or the minor penalties being major penalties, as Adam said there, that they've workshopped that it actually benefits some of the challenger teams. So I hope it benefits us.
Simon?
I actually like the overtime route. But as Davey just touched on, you don't want to be on the wrong side of it. I think the referees are going to play a really important part of the overtime if it does go that far for teams, and you just don't want to be. As Davey touched on there, you don't want to rim run around the wall and then all of a sudden it bounces over your stick. The referee says that you could have kept it in. You know that it's the puck moves very fast, and all of a sudden there's a face off in your end, and they win the face off and score a goal. You'll be pissed at that, but hopefully it comes back to benefit us. Let me tell you something: if you get the overtime in every game, you're going to be absolutely delighted. You're going to get at least a point in every game. So let's concentrate in the first period tomorrow night to start with. But if we get the overtime, I think it's definitely a success. So we'll just have to see what happens.
So let's discuss these games, boys. And we've got these huge 2 games that are coming on Thursday night, and on Saturday night. We've talked about how the Giants are sitting. We talked about what are we up against here, Simon?
We're up against a very, very, very good team that has 2 potentially, if they both turn up, they have 2 ex-Belfast Giant Friendship 4 alumni players playing for them in Stefanos Lekos, the goalie, and Patrick Curry, who was here with BU in 2019 or 18, was it? So the goalie won it with Vermont. They're coming into Belfast. They know the arena. I'm sure they're looking forward to coming back because they would have get treated very, very well back then. However, they're an opponent now. We don't want to treat them well when we get on the ice. We want to make sure that they know they're going to be there. But this team is a top outfit. I've had them on flash scores and watching their preseason games with interest. It's going to be a tough ask, and all you can do is go out there and do your best, and hopefully again we do have some real good competitors in this team again this year. You got the Champions League by earning it last season, and as I say, that core that we have coming back with led by David Goodwin, the captain, and Scott Conway, Gabe Bast, all those guys that are coming back into this competition wanted to get to the Champions League. So hopefully we'll go out, do ourselves justice, and put up a really good performance, because it's not going to be easy for any of these teams coming into Belfast. The last time we were in the CHL, we won all 3 home games. That is unbelievable. We were just short of getting the knockout stages, which would have been fantastic. So if we can get to the knockout stages this time, it's definitely probably one of the highlights of our 25-year career, or 26-year getting into. It's going to be really, really tough, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow night.
Do we know if they're in yet, or are they traveling tomorrow?
I believe they come in tonight. Again, they organize their own transport. I don't know what where they're staying. They organized everything themselves. We offered the hotels and coaches and stuff, but they organized everything themselves. So I think it's actually you have to come in the night before. But
remember, who was it? What was the Czech team who came
Liberec.
in? Liberec came in, got a bloody nose and left.
Yep. Yeah. Well, let's hopefully they get a bloody nose tomorrow night and leave and go on the wrong side of a victory for the Belfast Giants. But Paddy, as I say, it's been that busy. I haven't, because they didn't need our help. I've just been getting on what we can do.
Davey, your take on this? Obviously, one of the key factors that we have in our favor here is the home advantage. This is a tough. We'll go on to talk about the Swiss and what we're going to go up against the Swiss teams when that comes around. But what we have here in our advantage is they're coming into our place, and we need to make sure they know about it.
Yeah, you got to use home advantage where you can, last change, etc. But you expect a very good puck moving team, a team that'll be very good with the extra man. So you've talked already to Adam. We've talked in this podcast about staying disciplined, staying out of the box as much as possible. There'll be power plays. There's incidents and games will happen, but as best we can, 5-on-5, and we've just got to match them for work ethic, for pace. That looks like a good and quick team that we've got as well. And highlighted the other night to you, or maybe it was says in text, and says this number 12 we've got's a decent player. And he looked like he's, he played really well the weekend. So yeah, look, the guys that have experience in CHL are going to be crucial to the guys that don't. And you talk about that extra man in the stands, and just hope tomorrow night. It's just time for one of your rally cries, probably.
Well, listen. Well, first of all, before we get to that, and sort of obviously the games are on Thursday night 7 p.m. and on Saturday against Tampa at 7 p.m. We want to get as many people down there, get behind the Belfast Giants, and get into these CHL games and show what home advantage actually means when these teams come in here. there is TV coverage through IHF TV. If you want to subscribe to that, but mostly they're for people like me that can't get to the game, or Davey can't get to these games. If you can get to the games, get to these games, get yourselves a ticket, get down there. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m, where we play, obviously, Calpa. Kuopio? Come on, sis. You're my man on this.
I think it's Kuopio.
And Elvis Tampere on Saturday at 7 p.m. at the SSE Arena. Any other business, boys?
Nothing from me.
No? All good? Well, in which case, we'll just start to wrap things up. Big thanks to Max Mason, to Reid Irwin as part of that. We'll look forward to what we're going to get from those in the future. Davy Phillips for coming on, Kieran Long, Jake Gaudet, and of course, Adam Keefe. You boys, good to see you again. Good to get these podcasts rolling because hockey is back, and we'll chat to you next week, hopefully with some real positives to come from these CHL games. You can get us at AVFTB on Twitter. You can get us on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on kingdomofthegents.com and all that sort of thing. And what we have is another foray into the CHL. And sometimes we joke about it being a preseason and stuff, but this is obviously an opportunity for us to show as Belfast Giants what we are on the international stage, what we are on the European stage. We're known throughout the world as being one of the great hockey franchises in Europe, because you see what we do with the NCAA, you see what we do with all sorts of connections and the players that we're able to bring in. And what we have now is where we're going up against the best that Europe has to offer. And what we need to show is that we can give them a challenge. We can show them who we are. We can show them that the Belfast Giants aren't just, we're the challenger teams in this, but no, we can actually go in here and compete. All credit to the teams that have gone before us from our league, but this is what we want to do. We want to show that we can compete in this league, and I'm no doubt that's exactly what we are going to do. The Belfast Giants hit the ice tomorrow night at 7 p.m. to take on their Finnish opposition. And hopefully you guys will be there, and we'll all be behind them for that. And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time. One of you from the bridge.